Chosen one, lean in with your spirit wide open, because what's happening right now is not human coincidence. It's divine orchestration. You didn't land here by luck, by the algorithm, or by a random scroll. Something in the unseen realm pulled you straight into this moment. You were stopped, separated from the noise, and positioned right in front of a spiritual doorway that has just swung open. This isn't a message you stumbled into. This is a message that found you, because heaven decided it was time.
This moment is not ordinary. This is not another video. This is a divine alert. A spiritual siren sounding above your life, announcing that something long delayed, long prayed for, long fought for, is about to break open. Fast. The gates you thought were locked? God just turned the key. The blessings you thought were denied? They're being released. The life you thought was out of reach? It's moving toward you at a speed you're not even ready to comprehend. You are shifting from waiting to receiving, from hoping to having, from maybe one day to right now. And this isn't a mindset shift. This is a supernatural acceleration. When God moves you, He moves you suddenly. When He opens a door, He opens it fully. When He authorizes you, nothing in heaven or earth can deny what He's releasing next. But hear this warning with your spirit. Acceleration requires alignment. If your heart isn't prepared, the speed of this blessing could overwhelm you. If your mind isn't steady, you might miss the very moment meant to lift your entire destiny forward. That's why God brought you here now, before the breakthrough hits, before the momentum overtakes you, before your life shifts into a gear you've never experienced. And before we go any deeper into this prophetic word, pause for a moment and make 3 spiritual moves. Like this message has your agreement in the spirit. Subscribe, because God is linking you to the voice you need in this season. And comment 99, the number of spiritual completion and divine readiness. It marks your spirit as prepared for what heaven is releasing. Those who aren't ready will scroll away, but the ones who are, they will feel this word vibrating in their bones. Chosen one, this season is not for casual believers, not for the half in, half out, not for those who only seek God when convenient. This season is reserved for the spiritually addicted, the ones who cannot rest until their soul is aligned, their mind is clear, and their purpose is sharpened. These are the ones who sit in silence to examine their heart, the ones who study their past to break patterns instead of repeating them, the ones who refuse to live blind, shallow, disconnected lives. That inner pull you've been feeling, that restlessness, that need to reevaluate your thoughts, your choices, your habits, your motives. That is not anxiety. That is not overthinking. That is not emotional instability. That is your divine qualification. Spiritual hunger is a sign of readiness. A heart that constantly leans toward God, even in storms, even in confusion, even in exhaustion, is a heart heaven can trust. Imagine a small plant being beaten by the wind and rain, but still tilting toward the light. That's you. No matter what hit you, something inside of you kept reaching upward. That something is the mark of the chosen. If you've been sensing this deep urge to clean up your inner world, to speak differently, think differently, respond differently, understand why. God has begun preparing you for a higher dimension. He is refining your impulses, sharpening your awareness, increasing your discernment, and pulling you out of old patterns, so you can carry what's coming without breaking under the weight of it. And now hear this clearly. The doors are wide open. Heaven is saying, you are fully allowed now. There are no hidden requirements, no fine print, no more waiting for permission. Picture standing before a treasure chest you have spent years staring at from a distance. And suddenly, The key is in your hand. Every blessing, every form of favor, every opportunity, every divine connection, every piece of wisdom you need, all of it is now accessible. The only barrier left is disbelief.
For too long, you've lived behind invisible walls, fear, shame, old wounds, the echo of people who underestimated you. You've walked around with spiritual chains that didn't even belong to you anymore. But today, heaven declares, breakthrough is here. No more limits, no more delay, no more restriction.
This is what divine permission feels like a dam bursting, like clarity flooding your spirit, like a heavy weight lifting off your chest, like something inside you saying, finally. But listen, freedom requires release. You cannot receive with closed fists. You cannot step forward while gripping your past. You cannot walk through a divine door while dragging old self-doubt behind you.
Heaven is not releasing partial blessings. God is not giving you pieces. He's giving you the full measure. Everything needed, everything aligned, everything prepared. Heaven is not asking if you are perfect. Heaven is asking, are you willing?
Chosen one, this is your empowerment season. No one can take this moment from you. No force on earth can delay what God has authorized. No opinion can block what God has opened.
You are stepping into territory where restriction doesn't exist, only direction. Where doors don't wait for you, they respond to you. Where alignment becomes natural. Where clarity comes quickly. Where the future pulls you instead of you pushing toward it. If even a part of you feels this word burning inside, understand, that is your confirmation. The acceleration has begun. Chosen one, if your spirit is stirring right now, it's because heaven is pulling you deeper into understanding why your journey has felt so intense, so different, so demanding. What you lived was not random. It was not punishment. It was not delay. It was formation. The kind of internal construction that only happens to those God intends to accelerate. Listen closely. The battles you fought in your mind, the heaviness you carried in silence, the constant self-reflection, the emotional waves you couldn't explain, the cycles you thought you should have outgrown. None of that was evidence of weakness. It was evidence of calling. You weren't collapsing. You were being shaped. You weren't confused. You were being sensitized. You weren't alone. You were being separated. You weren't stuck. You were being calibrated. Heaven was training you to hear what others ignore and to perceive what others miss. Most people run from their inner world. You, chosen one, were pulled into yours. You didn't choose the introspection. The introspection chose you. And that's the mark of someone heaven can trust with acceleration. God doesn't promote people who refuse to look inward. He promotes those who are willing to sit with their truth, confront their patterns, break their cycles, and let Him refine them from the inside out. That pull you felt, that discomfort, that pressure, that need to get your mind right, that need to grow, was heaven stretching your capacity. Because when God accelerates someone, He first enlarges their internal structure. And your structure has been expanding the whole time, even when you didn't realize that's what was happening. Chosen one, understand this. Spiritual acceleration doesn't begin externally. It begins with a mind God can trust. Every moment you slow down to think instead of reacting, heaven saw it. Every time you corrected yourself instead of repeating an old pattern, heaven recorded it. Every time you chose growth over comfort, heaven rewarded it internally before you ever saw it externally. That's why your thoughts have been sharper. That's why your emotions have been shifting. That's why your spirit has been waking up in waves. You thought you were overthinking, but you were outgrowing. Now hear this. Your internal world has officially reached the threshold heaven was waiting for. That's why the doors are opening. That's why the energy around your life is shifting. That's why opportunities will begin showing up in clusters, not one by one. You've crossed into a dimension where your mind and your spirit are finally aligned with your assignment.
But let's go deeper into the truth of your preparation. 1. Your inner battles were sharpening your discernment. People who never wrestle internally can't discern externally. You have been learning to sense subtle shifts, hidden motives, spiritual direction. That's why your intuition has become louder. Heaven has been teaching you to detect what others overlook.
2. Your emotional waves were strengthening your endurance.
Acceleration brings pressure. Only those who survive internal storms can handle external blessing. You learned to stabilize yourself when everything around you felt unstable. That endurance will now serve you in extraordinary ways.
3. Your solitude was divine incubation. You weren't isolated. You were being grown in secret. Just like seeds sprout underground before breaking the surface, God was expanding you away from the eyes of others. What comes next will make sense of every quiet season. 4. Your discomfort was the indicator of a spiritual expansion. People who are content with stagnation never feel uncomfortable. But your spirit kept nudging you, challenging you, pushing you. That discomfort was the sign that God was stretching you for a bigger life than the one you had. Chosen one. The reason your journey felt harder is simple. You were being built for a level that demands depth. Shallow roots can hold great trees. Weak foundations can support heavy blessings. Unprocessed emotions can carry divine assignments. But you faced what others avoided. You dug where others stayed surface level. You grew where others repeated cycles. And now, heaven says, you're ready. But here is the revelation that will hit your spirit the hardest. Acceleration isn't coming. It has already begun inside you. Your emotions know it. Your thoughts know it. Your dreams know it. Your atmosphere knows it. Your restlessness was the announcement. Your clarity is the confirmation. Things will now begin aligning quickly because your internal world has shifted into agreement with God's timing. People will show up that you didn't chase. Opportunities will open that you didn't force. Ideas will flow that you didn't plan. Path will clear that you didn't fight for. Not because of luck, but because your spirit is finally ready to receive what always belonged to you. Chosen one. The slowness is over. The resistance is breaking. The stagnation has lifted. You are entering the phase where God moves you faster than your fears, faster than your doubts, faster than your past, and faster than anything that ever tried to hold you back. Your internal readiness is the signal heaven was waiting for, and heaven has now responded. The acceleration is real, and it's only the beginning. Chosen one. Now heaven wants you to understand something deeper, something that explains every strange turn your life has taken, every closed door, every delay, every season of stretching that felt unfair, heavy, or endless. Nothing about your path was random. Everything was intentional. Everything was forming you for the level you're stepping into now. You've always wondered, why me? Why does everything feel more intense for me than for others? Why do I feel things so deeply? Why do I outgrow people faster? Why do I see through things others ignore? Why can't I settle? Chosen one, here's the truth. Because you were never called to live at their level. You were being prepared for elevation, not comfort. For influence, not invisibility. For clarity, not confusion. For purpose, not survival. And elevation requires excavation. Before God lifts you, He deepens you. That's why you felt pressure from all sides. That's why your heart had to break open. That's why your old identity had to die. That's why your circles had to shift.
That's why your spirit kept waking up at inconvenient times.
All of it was construction. Internal construction for a destiny that requires stability, strength, and spiritual precision.
Chosen one, listen with your whole soul. You were not delayed. You were being developed. There is a difference, a holy one.
If God had opened this next season before you were internally ready, it would have crushed you. Not because you lacked potential, but because the structure wasn't built yet. But now the interior matches the assignment. Let's pull back the veil on why your life has been so radically shaped before this point.
1. Your discernment had to mature. You weren't meant to walk blindly. You weren't meant to follow crowds. You weren't meant to be easily influenced.
Your spirit had to learn subtle signals, the shift in atmosphere, the tone behind words, the motive beneath behavior. What others call being sensitive, heaven calls being sharpened. You can sense manipulation, deception, or misalignment before it manifests. That's a gift, and that gift is required for the level you are rising into.
2. Your capacity had to expand. Blessings do not just add, they weigh. Influence has weight, opportunity has weight, leadership has weight, assignment has weight.
And only someone who has been stretched emotionally, mentally, spiritually, can carry that weight without collapsing. Your stretching wasn't cruelty, it was enlargement. Heaven widened your spirit so you could hold more than the average person ever could.
3. Your spirit had to become stable.
Acceleration creates pressure. Momentum brings intensity.
If your spirit had remained fragile, you would have panicked when things started moving quickly. But those quiet seasons, those lonely nights, those silent battles, they taught you how to stand when nothing made sense. They taught you how to breathe when the atmosphere was heavy. They taught you how to stay grounded when everything around you shifted.
Your strength now is not loud. It's deep.
4. Your identity had to detach from your past.
This one will resonate deeply.
There were versions of you that could not enter this next level. Versions shaped by old pain, old patterns, old relationships, old fears, old expectations.
God had to peel those layers off you, slowly, painfully, deliberately, until you became someone who no longer apologized for existing, someone who no longer shrank to stay accepted, someone who no longer lived from wounds, but from wisdom.
You didn't lose yourself. You found your real self.
5. Your vision had to clear.
You see differently now. You hear differently now. You feel differently now.
You no longer desire what you used to crave. You no longer tolerate what you once allowed. You no longer accept the smallness you once lived in.
Your mind has elevated. Your standards have elevated. Your spirit has elevated.
This shift was not accidental. It was prophetic. Chosen one, everything you've endured has shaped you into someone who can now walk into blessing without sabotaging it. Walk into opportunity without fearing it. Walk into destiny without shrinking from it.
The old versions of you would not have survived this level. But the version of you standing here now, built for it, prepared for it, qualified for it.
And now heaven is declaring something powerful over your life. There will be no going back.
Not mentally, not spiritually, not emotionally, not vibrationally, not relationally.
Your past is no longer a place you can return to. Your old mindset no longer fits. Your old patterns no longer function. Your old identity no longer exists.
You've crossed a threshold, a point of no return.
From this point forward, doors will open differently. People will approach you differently. Opportunities will flow differently. Your spirit will respond differently. Your discernment will guide you differently.
Because you are not stepping into a new season.
You are stepping into a new dimension. And in this dimension, chosen one, nothing that was meant to break you will ever touch you the same way again. Nothing that drained you will have access to you. Nothing that confused you will control you. Nothing that slowed you will stop you. The construction is over. The preparation is complete. And now, elevation begins.